Series programs are available at no cost to NAIOP members. These mini webinars run less than 30 minutes, and our goal is to provide you with some quick tips and insights, all types of positive strategies and tactics to help you succeed in today's business environment. We encourage you to drive the content. Please send us an email to solutions@naiop.org to let us know what topics and presenters you would like to hear from in future programs. Next slide, please. NAIOP has produced the popular Solution Series programs for over 2 years. Did you miss one of our informative topics? The archives of these programs are available to NAIOP members at no cost through the on-demand bookstore. Examples of past programs are listed on the current slide. Our topics cover finance, niche development, logistics, and more. Visit the NAIOP website at www.naiop.org/Solution Series for links to the archive. Next slide, please. And now let's get on with our program. With us today is William Fruth, President of Policom Corporation, an independent economics research firm located in Palm City, Florida, which specializes in studying the dynamics of local economies. Policom determines if an economy is growing or declining, what is causing this to happen, and offers ideas and solutions to improve the situation. Bill has personally evaluated the data for more than 700 local economies in the United States, created more than 200 economic and community studies, and has provided presentations and workshops for state, national associations, and community forums in 37 states. Welcome, Bill. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for joining the NAIOP Solutions Series on strategic economic development and how NAIOP members play an important role in causing local economies to grow. Today, we will learn how a local economy works, the flow of money into an area and the flow of money out, and what causes that to happen. We will discover the difference between growing in size and growing in quality. We will determine the industries which have the greatest economic impact upon a local economy and identify the most important issue relative to economic growth. Before we can talk about how a local economy works, it is important to understand what is a local economy. Well, a local economy is simply a geographic area where a vast majority of the people live and work. Within this area, which can be as small as a single county or include multiple counties, people earn their money and spend their money. In essence, the area is a contained economy. It is a bucket of wealth. The geographic boundary of a local economy is mainly determined by the commuting patterns of the people in the area. The location and number of jobs within an area determines how big geographically the economy will be. Job centers are like magnets. They draw people toward them. Just like a magnet, the closer you are to it, the greater the pull of the force. The further away from the magnet, the less the draw, until there is no force at all. The pull or draw of an employment center begins to diminish the further away someone lives from its location. Basically, it boils down to how long it would take someone to travel to work each day. The extreme reach is approximately 1 hour. This is about the limit a person is willing to commute for a job. In the United States, the average commuting time is about 26 minutes. However, a vast majority of all economic activity occurs within 20 minutes of the place of work for an individual. A local economy is not limited in size by county or state lines. Oftentimes, people commute across county and city boundaries to work, thus joining each economically. For the most part, if 75% of the people live and work in an area, it is a contained economy, a bucket of wealth. Areas also can have multiple magnets in different cities and counties, causing a maze of commuting throughout, consequently linking them all economically even more. So how does a local economy work? Well, imagine all the wealth of a local economy is contained in a bucket. It swirls around and around like being churned with a mixer. It goes from person to person, business to business, business to person, and is constantly moving. One person buys a house and a bank makes a loan. The realtor buys a car. The auto salesperson buys a stereo. The store owner makes a life insurance payment. The insurance agent pays school property taxes. The teacher pays the water bill. The money moves on and on and on. Money is like a hive of bees following the path of a three-dimensional spider web. moving around as it circulates throughout the economy. But there's a problem. There's a hole in the bucket, and all the wealth of a community is leaking out. Every time you purchase an automobile, a good share of the purchase price is returned to Detroit, Nashville, or Tokyo, wherever the car was made. Every time you purchase a shirt, buy a pair of shoes, make your utility payment, go on vacation, money leaves the community and goes to the area in which the product was made or the service performed. Money is continuously leaving the community through the hole in the bucket. The outward flow is constant, pervasive, and ongoing. Nothing can be done to stop it, no matter how small the hole. Eventually, all the wealth of the community will be drained. So what can be done? A community needs to add money to its economic bucket, replenishing its supply. A faucet at the top of the bucket needs to be turned on, filling it with fresh, rejuvenating wealth, which enables the churning process to continue. Money is imported to an area by way of the business activity of the primary industries. A primary industry is one which sells its goods or services outside the area. Typically, about 25% of the people who have jobs in a community work for an enterprise which is primary in nature, and about 75% of all jobs are the result of those primary industries. Typically, only about 5% of the businesses in a community are primary in nature, and about 95% of all the other businesses are consumptive and utilize the money being imported by the primary businesses. An economy will grow in size based upon the amount of money flowing into the area. The more money imported by way of the primary industries will cause growth. If this flow is reduced, then it will cause decline. When a primary employer sells its products, it pays its workers. Through its payroll, local taxes paid, local purchases, it has a positive contributory impact upon the local economy. This economic impact flowchart demonstrates the economic impact of a 250-job manufacturer within a community. By their presence, it creates 425 other jobs, which are included in retail, healthcare, wholesaling, finance, and the other industrial sectors. This employer also has a significant economic impact. As a result, there are $22 million of community payrolls. It supports 525 households and generates $2.2 million in local government taxes. This is an example of how money circulates throughout the bucket of wealth. This is also the annual impact of this employer within the community. Communities grow in size, but they also grow in quality. And quality is a reflection of what people earn. As what people earn determines their economic quality of life, and it also determines the amount of disposable income within a community. To understand growing inequality, we must examine what's called the great myth. And the great myth is creating any new job will help the economy. We need to study this to determine whether or not it's truly appropriate, as someone earning $50,000 a year certainly has much more disposable income than someone earning $20,000 a year. To understand what we mean by growing inequality, we need to examine the game of baseball. Baseball will give us insight as to the nature of quality economic growth. Let me tell you what I mean. Suppose you own a baseball team, and this is your lineup. You have a 460 hitter, you have a 430 hitter, you have a 350 hitter. You have some really good players. You also have some scrubs on your team. You have a 220 batter and a 181. But your team batting average is 307. This is pretty good. You have a very strong team. Now suppose your sister calls you up one day and says, hey, look, my sons, your two nephews, can't find a job. I want you to put them on your baseball team. You ask the question, hey, are they any good? She says, no, they're not any good, but put them on the team anyway because they have to have work. Well, she was right. They were not very good. One's a 220 hitter, and one's a 181 batter. Now, in this league, everyone has to play. By adding those two weak players to your team batting average dropped from 307 to 288. The quality of your team, its strength, actually declined. Well, suppose you like this idea of having a lot of players on your team, and you decide to try to have the biggest team in the league. So you trade your best player, your 460 hitter, for 3 players that bat 220. Well, you make the trade, your best player goes away, your weaker players are added to the team, now you have the biggest team in the league, but the overall quality of your team declined as your team batting average dropped from 288 down to 259. Well, let's go back to the beginning. And suppose your 2 best players, your 460 hitter and your 430 hitter, contract expired last night. They left the team. They took a bus to another town. You did not even have time to replace them with scrubs. Well, you have to have 9 players, so every time they were supposed to go to the plate, there was an automatic out. And so your team batting average, the quality of your team, volatilely dropped from 307 down to 208. Well, these are baseball batting averages. What do they have to do with local economies? These are not baseball batting averages, but average earnings per worker within a local area, or average worker wages. And in a strong economy, over a period of years, they maintain a ratio of high-wage jobs to low-wage jobs, maintaining a high area average wage. In this economy, they added more low-wage jobs relative to their high-wage jobs, causing a mild dilution in the quality of their local economy. In this economy, they lost high-wage jobs, but created a plethora of low-wage jobs. As a result, the economy got bigger, but the overall quality of the economy declined. This is very much like what has happened in the United States over the last 10 and 15 years, that we have lost high-wage jobs, but created a plethora, a whole bunch of low-wage service and retail jobs. And in this economy, they lost high-wage jobs so fast, there wasn't even enough money floating around to create the low-wage jobs. This is what has happened in many of the weakest economies in the United States. Over the last 10 years, the strongest economies have been very successful in creating jobs which pay a wage higher than their area average wage. In fact, that is the focus of their economic development programs when recruiting primary employers. Unfortunately, many communities have not been able to do that, but have created a large number of low-wage jobs. Their economies might have gotten larger, but the overall quality and disposable income of the people has actually declined. Industrial sectors vary in the amount of economic impact they have upon communities. The following is a list of industrial sectors which communities can recruit to their community. The list is presented in order of the greatest impact to the least impact. The manufacturing of high-bulk, high-value products has the greatest economic impact upon a local economy. Examples include an automobile assembly plant, commercial aircraft, shipbuilding, energy production facilities, and chemical manufacturing. The manufacturing of high-value mid to low-bulk products. Examples include satellites, sophisticated electronic devices, medical equipment, and pharmaceuticals. Sophisticated information or technical services, facilities for insurance actuaries, financial management, major engineering and architectural firms, software development, computer systems design, and marketing research. The transportation of products includes major trucking, rail, air, and port facilities dedicated to the handling and movement of products. Research and development can appear in virtually any industrial sector, including electronic components, nuclear energy, industrial metals, and photonics. The federal government has one of the highest average wages of any major industrial sector. Examples include the regional headquarters for the IRS, major postal distribution facilities, military installations, and research facilities. Corporate headquarters are administrative centers for banking, healthcare, manufacturers, insurance, and a host of other businesses. The manufacture of mid-value products. Examples include computer assembly, metal fabrication, food processing, boat building, household appliances, and building materials. State government typically pays a wage much higher than the local average wage, and many states are now distributing these facilities throughout their states so that more communities can benefit from the employment. Information and telecommunication centers. Examples include subscription fulfillment, telemarketing centers, and the processing and collating of information for a host of industries such as banking and insurance. The manufacturing of low-value products. These include apparel, household appliances, food processing, low-value plastics, and even animal slaughtering. The retirement industry. The jobs created by this industry are typically low-wage service and retail jobs, but they're typically relatively consistent within an economy. However, the growth of the economy is dependent upon the immigration of more retirees. The tourism industry promulgates the creation of low-wage retail and service jobs also, but unfortunately is also a seasonal type of industry, and economies solely dependent upon tourism lack dependability and are generally low in quality. So, how do we improve a local economy? It is really very simple. Create primary industry jobs which pay a wage higher than the area average wage. By doing this, more money will flow into the economy and the quality of the economy will improve over time. Not only will the wages for the workers enter the bucket of wealth, so will all the spending and taxes paid by the companies themselves. As a result, all businesses will grow, more taxes will flow to local government, enabling more and better services. Schools will improve, and socioeconomic problems will begin to fade. When a community increases the number of high-wage primary industry jobs, a force pulls up the bottom rung of the economic ladder, lifting all through a series of wage and skill steps, improving the standard of living for most people. This force causes part-time, low-paying retail and service jobs to fold into full-time jobs at higher wage levels and with fringe benefits. The quality of the economy will continue to rise if new primary jobs created in the area pay a wage higher than the local area average wage. Many community leaders believe that companies will locate to their area because it is just a wonderful place to live and they have the highest quality of life. Unfortunately, this is not the case. What companies are looking for are areas which have economic assets which are conducive to the profitability of the company. They look at labor costs, higher education facilities, wage rates, the transportation systems. They look at the taxes, not only locally but also statewide. They look at all the costs and the time of getting set up, all these things which affect the site selection decision. In fact, there could be more than 100 issues that are considered by a company before they locate to a specific community. And these issues are all related to the bottom line, the profitability of the company. And that is the most important concern of a vast, vast majority of all primary employers, that they need to be profitable to stay in business. That doesn't mean they're looking for the cheapest location, but after consideration of all these geographic economic issues, they will typically pick the most profitable location. However, there is one issue which is more important than all the other issues combined, and this is where the members of NAIOP come into play. The most important issue relative to the site selection process is having an actual site. Without improved, approved industrial property, new companies cannot locate to an area, causing economic expansion for the community. Startup companies that are in incubators cannot grow as they have no place to do so. And existing companies cannot expand. As a result, they will have to move out of the area, taking with them the wealth that they were previously creating. Improved real estate simply means that all of the infrastructure is in place. All the sewer lines, electric lines, power lines, water lines, roadways are to the site, and the site is building ready. Approved real estate is just as important. All zoning issues need to be settled on these properties, as site selectors and companies cannot wait and likely will not expose themselves to all the public hearings that will be involved in changing the zoning of a property. Communities need to be able to issue a building permit to a qualified primary employer within 90 days of application. In fact, many progressive communities in the United States are so enlightened that they are able to issue a building permit in 1 to 2 weeks for a primary employer that meets their qualifications. Unfortunately, many communities in the United States do not have improved, approved industrial real estate. As a result, their economies are either declining presently or certainly will decline in the future. In summary, local economies grow or decline in direct proportion to the amount of money being imported by the primary industries to the area. Industrial sectors vary in their economic impact upon a community, as some have much greater impact than others. And the strategic economic development for any area is dependent upon having building-ready sites, as it is the most important economic issue. NAIOP members play an important role in causing quality economic growth for communities as they provide these facilities for a community. The information in this program is contained in The Flow of Money, which is a 28-page booklet which can be downloaded from Policom Corporation at www.policom.com.
Bill, thanks for a great presentation and sharing your thoughts on strategic economic development and the important role commercial real estate developers can play in that process. Our next Solution Series program will be available on November 15th. Watch your emails for NAIOP Source or corporate e-newsletter for the program link. Thank you for listening to our session.